Hi everyone, welcome back to Liz Sews. I've seen a lot of questions come in about sort of altering bra patterns that you have. And so what I'm going to go over today is how to alter just a regular classic day style bra into a lower cut plunge style bra. And it's super easy, especially if you already have a plunge wire that fits you. And so we're just going to make a couple alterations to the pattern pieces, and I will show you how to do that now. So let's get started. To get started, you're only going to need a couple of things. I have tracing paper. I just use medical exam table paper. I bought this off of Amazon. It's really cheap. I have like a lifetime supply. I'll be using a ruler. We have a marking utensil. I'm just going to use a Sharpie for the purpose of this to make it show up a little bit better, but I would sort of recommend you use a pencil. And then for the pattern pieces, we're only really going to be needing this upper cut piece, as well as the bridge and the outer cradle to make this adjustment. And I will be showing this on the Harriet bra, but this tutorial should work with pretty much any bra that you have. So the first thing you want to do is trace your bridge and cradle, and then you want to overlap at your seam allowances. So now that I have the outer cradle traced, I'm going to position my inner cradle underneath there, and then I want to line up where the seam allowance is. So I have an idea of what the cradle will be like once it is sewn up. So you can see the end of the cradle is actually, or the end of the bridge is right there, and then I have my 1/4 inch overlap in between. Okay, so this is where the wire line is going to be. So if you have a specific wire that you want to use, you can set your wire down here and then get a good idea of where you want to put your bridge, cut your bridge to. So in this instance, I would probably want to bring my bridge down almost an inch. So let's say that we deduct the top of the bridge by 1 inch to make it into a plunge bra. So we're no longer going to be using this piece. That's going to be the new, this line is going to be the new top of the bridge. And that is pretty much all you need to do to alter this. Now the next step to doing this is you're going to need to alter your cup pieces. And this is where having your marks in there helps it be really handy. So this is my inner cup, and I know that here's my 1/4 inch of a seam allowance, and that's the mark where that 1/4 inch of a seam allowance should meet up. So I just place my inner cup in there, kind of turn it around. Okay, so it looks like my inner cup is not going to be affected at all. So I really only need to alter this outer cup, or upper cup. So if I place my upper cup in there where I overlap my seam allowances, you can see that now I can see where that bridge is going to cross the upper cup. I will just make a little mark right there. So because the bridge, we've taken it down by 1 inch, and this should be about 1 inch, and it is. So what I like to do is just take it from that spot where my new bridge top intersects, and then I'm just going to blend that line out so that it meets up to where it was before. And then I can trace that piece out as well now. So you can see this is what our upper cut piece used to look like, and this is what it will look like now. And if I overlay that on top, you can see how we've just cut off this portion of it up here. So basically, now that I have this change, I will copy this over again so that I don't get confused and get confused with all of those marks. So I will do that now. I haven't made any changes to this outer cradle. I just needed to have it to check my wire. So that's not one that's going to actually be changing. So these will be our two new pieces. And then everything else will stay the same. So you can see this is what it would have looked like before. And then after, it is considerably shorter up here. Now you may find that you don't like the way that this looks because it is quite wide, even though we haven't changed that width at all, because you're not tapering up at the top, it can look a little wide. And so what you can do is slash right here and then overlap the pieces and sort of even out that curve along the bottom and sort of narrow the bridge in just a little bit. And that's going to give you that Victoria's Secret sort of like super cleavage plunge look, if that's what you're going for. But you can also just leave it exactly like this and have the same sort of support that you would have had in the full coverage bra. So that is it, pretty easy. You can still continue to use your other regular pieces for the outside cradle, your wing, you haven't touched that. And we haven't really touched anything over here. We just trimmed off a little bit of this upper cup piece.